Tired of cameras looking like the black box your grandma keeps her tax receipts in? Rectangular slabs of conformity that scream professionalism? Don't get me wrong, some things are rectangular or round for a reason, like pizza. Who wants folded slices? But cameras, they are stuck in a black box of boredom, churning out blank copies of each other like stale bread from a toaster obsessed with minimalism. But not today. Not with me on the scene, because today we are celebrating the outlaws, the rebels, the cameras that look like they escaped from a fever dream from Salvador Dali crossed with the muted toaster convention. Forget sleek rectangles, join me on a quest for the quirkiest contraptions, the oddities that make people ask, is that a camera or a disco ball on an existential crisis? So buckle up with camera and toaster enthusiasts, because we are diving into the bizarre, the baffling cameras that defy expectations and possibly the laws of physics. If a toaster can dream of becoming a camera, then everything is possible. Ah, the good old 90s, a decade where dial-up internet sounded like an angry herd of cows arguing with a modem, where cell phones are basically bricks with antennas that could double as a self-defense weapon, and TVs requiring that occasional love tap to maintain picture clarity. Truly a simpler time, except when it came to capturing memories. For the first one, enter the Apple QuickTake 100 in 1994, a revolutionary device that bursted into scene like a digital camera piñata at a tech convention filled with neon and questionable fashion choices. It wasn't just any camera, it was a marvel of 90s technology, packaging the processing power of a Tamagotchi and the storage capacity of a particularly forgetful goldfish. 1 megabyte false. Wow! Well, in 1994, the Apple QuickTake 100 felt like carrying an entire photo album in your pocket. How cool is that? 8 whole pictures at whooping 600 x 480 resolution pictures, and at a lower resolution of 320 x 240 pixels. So if you could have $1 for every pixel on the picture, you could already file in bankruptcy. But hey, at least it wasn't black and white. And get this, the pictures were bursting with colors thanks to its 0.31 megapixel CCD sensor from Kodak, probably fueled by a vibrant spirit by a pack of Skittles. Now to the design, was about as aerodynamic as a brick trying to win a beauty pageant. But hey, it was a collaboration between two tech giants, Apple and Kodak joined forces, basically combining the sleekness of a Newton and the ruggedness of a disposable camera. But don't underestimate this clunky beauty with the 8mm 2.8 lens, which is around 50mm in full frame terms. It was a chameleon of the camera world, adjusting from 2.8 to f16 to capture all your memories. The price tag, you might ask? A whooping $749, which would be $1,550 in 2024, which nowadays could buy you a decent vacation minus the blurry memories, of course. But in 1994 it was practically a steal compared to other digital cameras. Alright, let's fast forward to the 2000s, a time where technology was still trying to find its grooves and cameras were like basically awkward teenagers trying to fit in. Enter the Polaroid iZone digital combo, a device that looked like a transformer having an identity crisis. Seriously, it wouldn't be out of place in a sci-fi movie prop warehouse. But hey, don't judge a book or camera by its cover. This quirky contraption packed a surprising punch. It wasn't just one camera, it was 2 cameras in one. One side that housed an instant film experience and the other side sported a cutting-edge digital camera. The instant camera side channeled classic Polaroid vibes, and the digital side's purely 2000 chaos. We are talking clunky buttons, a tiny LCD screen with a lens that wouldn't be out of place in a toy robot, Remember those transformers that morphed between modes? The iZone had similar vibes. Despite its unusual look, the iZone offered something unique. A digital camera sensor that captured pictures in a pixelated but triumphing 640 x 480 resolution pictures. Think of it as digital memories but with a healthy dose of nostalgia. And get this, its storage capacity was a bit as mind-blowing as the last one, so they were surely sharing the same forgetful goldfish as the Apple QuickTake 100, enough to store 18 whole pictures. Imagine the agony of choosing which blurry masterpiece to keep. But here's the kicker. Unlike the Apple QuickTake we saw earlier, this little oddball came with a much friendlier price tag, around $100, which translates to around $178 in 2024. That's right, the price for a fancy dinner in the 2000s. You could have this 2-in-1 camera capturing memories both instantaneously and digitally. How cool is that? Or maybe not. But of course, compared to today's tech, the iZone's limitations are clear. One aperture settings, fixed focus and a tiny memory. Every picture had a unique aesthetic regardless of the lighting or the distance. So the Polaroid iZone digital combo might not win any design awards today, but it serves as a hilarious reminder how far camera technology has come and how affordably played a role in making photography accessible for more people. I mean, digital photography. It's a quirky time capsule as a testament to weird and wonderful evolution of capturing memories. For our third camera, we need to travel to the next decade, the 2010s. Forget disco balls that only reflect questionable dance moves. Forget beach balls that deflated faster than your high school crush's interest. And forget those inflatable furnitures from the 90s that nobody really knew what to do with. Enter the Panono, a camera shaped like a ball that's about as round as your chances of understanding its instruction manual. Is that a camera? Or a disco ball having a midlife crisis? You might ask with a raised eyebrow. Buckle up, Buttercup, because this 2014 oddball is like a tech party thrown by a mad scientist. Imagine throwing a photo globe that captures everything around you. And that just in one go. That's the Panono in a nutshell. Think of it as the ultimate party favor, except of glow sticks, it throws down 108 megapixel memories. Talk about capturing a whole vibe in glorious spherical perfection. Compared to the dusty relicts we saw earlier, this ballerina is a Ferrari parked to a Ford Model T. We're talking Wi-Fi, USB, enough storage for storing panoramas that would make mountain ranges jealous. It got more features than a Swiss Army knife on a sugar rush. Want HDR like a pro photographer? Bam! Feeling fancy with manual exposure? Bam! It's like having a tiny photography studio in the palm of your hand. ISO control? Don't even let me start. It got more settings than a teenager's Snapchat filters, and we know that many of them. Let's be honest, the real selling point is the sheer absurdity of it all. This grapefruit-sized orb weighs less than a bowling pin, yes, throws down high-resolution panoramas like a confetti cannon on steroids. Who wouldn't pull out a camera that looks like it escaped from a sci-fi movie? And the inevitable questions, wait, is that a camera? Sure, it might get your wallet to do a double take. So we are talking about $2,000, which is roughly the cost of a small island's nation or a lifetime of disco glitter, so it's not particularly cheap. But hey, consider it as an investment in hilarious memories and social media cloud that would make even Kim Kardashian jealous. So the next time you're looking for a camera that's as unique as your questionable taste in music, ditch the rectangle and grab yourself a sphere. Here are the specs to satisfy your techie side. Resolution 108 megapixels. That's a lot of pixels, people. Number of cameras 36. Yes, that's right. That's a camera army. Storage 16 gigs of storage. Enough for hundreds of panoramic masterpieces. Connectivity, it has Wi-Fi, USB, so you can easily share your epic shots. Other features like HDR manuals and auto exposure manual and auto ISO, white balance control, fixed focal length and focus. For the fourth one, we need to jump to the 1960s, the Nemrod Siluro, an aquatic oddball that looks like a disco ball had a love affair with a submarine. Imagine a backlit bowling ball with a handle, a surprised monocle for a viewfinder. This wasn't your average underwater camera, it was a conversation starter, a party favor for Davy Jones, and maybe just a secret agent's best friend. Sure, it might not win any megapixel races. This chunky monkey used 120 film, spitting out 12 squares per roll. It's like the Instagram era of the 1960s, but with less avocado toast and more coral reefs. But hey, in the 1960s, capturing everything underwater that wasn't a blurry mess was an achievement. Think of it of the Polaroid of the deep seas. Instant memories minus the instant regret of questionable fashion choices. Because let's be honest, the Siluro itself was a fashion choice. And speaking of questionable fashion choices, this little funky number even had an optional flash attachment that resembled a tiny diving helmet. Picture Jacques Cousteau, but instead in a shark cage. He's strapped to a camera that looks like he's about to hit the dance floor. It screams, "I take my underwater fashion seriously." And even if I look like I got lost in a costume shop during a fever dream. But don't underestimate this quirky contraption. Despite it all, shall we say, distinctly unaerodynamic design, the Siluro was a sturdy companion for aquatic adventures or adventures that really like chunky cameras. And it could handle depths up to 40 meters, which is basically Atlantis worthy minus the mermaid. Although with this camera, who knows what you might capture. So the next time you're scrolling through your crystal clear underwater drone footage, remember, like the pioneers like the Siluro, they might not have filters or the perfect lighting, but hey, but they had heart, some serums, arm and strength, be real. That thing was heavy. And a whole lot of underwater funk. And hey, at least they weren't shaped like a fish. Can you imagine the confusion with actual fish? Talk about an identity crisis. Now to the last one. Remember the Litro? A groundbreaking camera released on February 29th of 2012. That cuboid contraption looked like a pepper mill that took a wrong turn in the factory and ended up as a camera. The one that promised to revolutionize photography with its megabytes of light, not megapixels like every plebeian camera out there, and letting you refocus your pictures after the fact. It sounded like magic, smelled like burnt silicon, and operated with an intuitive charm of a Rubik's Cube dip in glitter while your dial-up internet strained to load cat memes. This wasn't your grandpappy's point and shoot. No sir. Unlike waiting for an eternity for grainy pictures on your 56 kilobit modem, the Litro boasted a light field sensor. That's like a million paparazzi mosquitoes, each buzzing around and recording different perspectives. This allowed the mind-blowing post-shot refocusing. It's like playing God with your blurry snapshots, except with less divine ease. Refocusing often resembled herding hyperactive kittens with a laser pointer while simultaneously trying to explain AOL Instant Messenger to your tech hours grandma.
Welcome. You've got mail.
The learning curves were steeper than a ski jump in high heels, and the instruction clearer than a whisper in a hurricane during pile dial-up usage. But yet there was a certain, well, je ne sais pas quoi to it, like holding a portal to dimensions where focus was fluid, and filters were technicolors acid trip on a bad day. Remember those? Ah, the filters, the Litro based on a kaleidoscope of options. from the noir dance film noir to the seizure introducing 8-track that transformed your pictures into artistic nightmares or masterpieces depending on your taste. Remember Mosaic? It shattered your pictures in million pieces and then painstakingly glued them back together in a way that would even make Picasso do a double take and possibly question his life choices. It bursted into the scene like a glitter bomb at a rave, only to fizzle out faster than a firefly with hiccups. The price tag was steeper as the first class ticket to Pluto. So it was pretty expensive camera, obviously, because flying to Pluto or Mars isn't that cheap either. So maybe with the money of that you could buy that quirky contraption. And the learning curve could even make the most seasoned photographer cry uncle. It became a cautionary tale for quirky gadgets. Sometimes being different isn't enough. Even if you come packed with a filter that could choke a unicorn, remember those sparkly animated ones that clogged your internet? So the next time you see a dusty Lightroom on the shelf, don't scoff, remember for what it was, a brave experiment, a conversation starter, and a testament of the fact that sometimes the weirdest gadgets bring the most joy and maybe, of course, frustration. So just don't expect it to replace your smartphone soon, unless, of course, you miss the days of questionable focus, enough data to choke a data center. Here are some specs you probably don't care about anyway, but here they are anyway, because why not? Sensor, not pixels, but mega lights of light, aka an 11 megapixel light field sensor. Fancy way of saying it captures more than your average peppermill shaped camera. Lenses, it zoomed like a chameleon on roller skates. 8-time optical zoom, f2.0 constant aperture. Think clear, sharp close-ups. Even for a person that never touched a camera before. Focus, non-existent until you decide after the shot and like to choose your own adventures of blurry moments. A tiny touchscreen that's perfect for navigating menus that's smaller than an ant's footprint and about as clear as your grainy pixelated internet photos. Storage, it was available at least 8GB, but there was also a 16GB version. Enough for about as many pictures as a squirrel's pantry, but significantly less chance of being accidentally deleted by grandpa. But battery lasted longer than a politician's promises. Not as long as you would hope, and definitely not as long as it took to download a single song on your dial-up internet connection. Filters, more like a kaleidoscope factory. Noir nightmare to psychedelic mosaics. Remember those trippy websites that stumbled on while you waited your internet to connect? I hope you like this more comedic type of video, since it was more about quirky and weird cameras. I wanted to add some humor to the video, so it's not just a list of facts, which is a bit boring, with a touch of humor. So trust me, I had so much fun making this one. I had more than one laugh. I think I never laughed so much while editing and writing the script. It was just so much fun making this one. If you like those quirky contraptions, don't forget to subscribe. Maybe I'm gonna make another video, maybe of quirky lenses or other quirky contraptions. I hope to see you in the next one, and take care of yourself.